Welcome to Coaches Roundtable. I'm Ed Codi, and welcome our guest, Pine Richland football quarterback coach Todd Yoakum. Coach, let's go to when this news first broke, and my reaction was shock and great surprise at hearing that Coach Eric Kasparovich and the entire coaching staff had been dismissed by way of email. Did you and Eric or anyone else have any inkling that this was coming down?
So 2 days before, we thought that the meeting that subsequently got canceled was the meeting to close all this out. You know, they'd done their investigation and, you know, whatever was going to happen was going to happen, but it was going to be over. We'd be back to, or Eric would be back to coaching. I believe either Tuesday night or Wednesday night, the night before the emails came out, a school board member sent a text to a friend which subsequently got forwarded, that essentially said the Pine Richland football job is going to be open. Please encourage people to apply. So on Wednesday, when it finally came down, you know, we had expected it. We had that 1 day notice because of that text message that had gotten out. And so we weren't surprised. You know, we were, I think, sad, or I was sad and mad were the main two feelings.
Coach, is it not correct that the athletic director informed Coach Kasparovich that a certain school administrator did not like him?
Yeah, not just Coach Kasparovich, but the entire staff. It was the Monday or Tuesday after the Upper St. Clair game, and on the field after practice, the athletic director, informed the entire staff that the administrator didn't like Eric and you know, implied.
Okay, I'm puzzled about that. Disliked him for what reason? Because of his great success, him traveling around the country, having being on the fan sports show, or what? The winning championships? What's the basis of the dislike?
So, you know, my opinion is it's all those things you mentioned. You know, our kids do well in school. We've had principals tell us the best thing that happens in a school is when the football team gets off to a great start, because people in school, the kids are happy. You know, certainly we won a lot, so that makes people happy. So you know, my guess is exactly what yours was, that it's because of, you know, the profile of Eric, who's a very charismatic person, and of the football program.
In a lot of places, when you hear this type of situation occur, it's mostly parent-based, parents going to the board, asking for changes with complaints. Is it not correct, Coach, that there has been no parent-based movement here at Pine Richland?
No, you know, certainly parents don't like it when their kids don't play, and everyone has issues, but the only parent-based movement here is to get Coach K back. There's no, you know, this isn't the typical story where a parent is a friend of a board member and they pull strings, they get the coach fired. I don't think that's what this is at all.
And there's never been any investigation by the regional police, nor is there a current investigation by the regional police.
Yeah, I mean, I've not asked the police that, but there's multiple media outlets that have called, and that's what they're reporting, that there's not been an investigation, nor is there currently one.
And there has never been any evidence of any bullying or harassment outside of some locker room horseplay. What I've heard, towel snapping, and that's the basis of what I've heard related to these allegations.
Yeah, you know, bullying and hazing, what I've learned is those words have a definitive meaning in Pennsylvania as they relate to education and the law. And no, I've never seen it. I've never heard of it. My kids who've been in the program for the past 6 or 7 seasons never saw it, never heard of it, never reported to me, and to my knowledge, never reported to any other coach.
Well, let's go now to the outpouring of support. First, a number of coaches within the Pine Richland athletic program have written letters expressing their support for Coach Kasparovich and the staff. And then Fellow coach Donnie Hole, the athletic director and head coach at Gateway, has sent out 500 emails to coaches across the state asking them not to apply for the position at Pine, and then the demonstrations by parents and players. How gratified are you and Coach Kasparovich about this tremendous level of support?
Well, I think it's hard to fathom that, a week ago that we would be here and that so much has happened, and they've mobilized both locally within the Pine Richland community, Pine Richland coaching community, and with, Coach Hall across the state. It's fantastic. It's hard to describe how grateful we are.
So Coach Eric will reapply for the job as well as the rest of the assistants. If you get your jobs back, and that's what everyone is hopeful for, changes have to occur. I mean, your characters have been slammed. Do you want certain changes made to come back and coach at Pine Richland?
Yeah. So, the number one thing, and I say this all the time, perfection is the enemy of success. Success will be Eric being reinstated along with all of us coaches. That's success. I don't personally see how we can coexist with at least some of the administrators that are there. It would be extremely hard. But, there are other processes in place that are coming up that are with, not in the rallying and protest area, but in things called elections. And, our community needs to step up and elect the people to, create the environment in the schools that they want. So, yeah, I want to get back. Coach K, I know, wants to get back. It's going to be very tough, but if things move forward at some time, at some pace, I think that, in a short period of time, we could be in a very good position again. It just may not all be perfect at first.
But the bottom line is the welfare and concern of these student athletes who want you guys back. So you have to consider them and try to work out an amenable situation that will satisfy everyone involved.
Yeah, you're the first person that actually has asked me that, and that's the key. So, like everything, and what you've heard over the past week, these kids mean a lot to us, and I think we mean a lot to them. And if we can, or when we get back and we begin coaching, at least they have a safe place to go. It seems to me that right now, for many of these kids, school isn't a safe place for them. They're getting called in one-on-one or, or a few on one with administrators, and they're being told things that are, make them mad and that are hard for a 15 or 16 or 17 or 18-year-old kid to process. So we want to get back in there and at least in the athletic part of their lives provide stability.
Well, Coach, we hope this fall to see you, the whole staff, and Coach Eric Kasparovich on the sidelines at Pine Ridge. And you've done just a terrific job. And I know from the responses from past players, they're grateful having gone through this program at Pine Richland.
Well, I really appreciate that. It's great that you guys give us an opportunity to kind of tell our side of the story. And, we appreciate the support you give us. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay, take care.
I'll be right back with Ellen George.
High school sports, community events, all of your favorite local shows are calling the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel their home. Find out everything your neighborhood has to offer on Channel 100 or on YouTube. Spirit, town pride, local communities. This is the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.
I'm back, joined to my right by the Swami George Abraham, to my left the Tiger Albert Campman. Let's go to Spotlight High School Track, the Tri-State Track Championships at West Mifflin, Albert, down through the years, just one of the great track events in the WPIL. The Butler boys and girls took first place, the fourth time in the last 5 years for the Butler girls. Both Butler teams, they're going to be the favorites to win the WPIL championships this year. Let's look at the Butler boys, what they did there. Guinness Brown, the junior, he won the 100 and 200, the 100 in 10.81 and the 200 in 21.76. Skylar Vavro, the 3200, the third fastest time in school history. Tristan McGarrett won the pole vault, 14 feet 3 inches. Butler won the 1600 relay. Of course, Guinness Brown anchored that. C.J. Singleton won the 800. North Catholic's Trevor Pascal. He won the 400 and was second to Brown in the 100. Brown has not lost to anyone this year in the 100 or the 200. Butler Girls, this girl having a terrific season. Emma Lehman, she won the 100 and 300 hurdles. Kenna Jackson of Butler, the shot. Sarah Ann Forbes of Butler, she won the discus and second in the shot. Alexa Meckling, she won the high jump. Butler won the 1600 relay. Emma Lehman anchored that for the Tornado Girls. Other track events, Guinness Brown of Butler won the 100, 200, and 400 versus North Allegheny. David Stam of Montauk, the 200, the discus, and the javelin. And Josh Konjerski of Slippery Rock High School, he was the field MVP at the Pine Richland Mini Invite. For the girls, Ashley Fox of Karn City, she broke her own school record in the javelin, 133 feet and 1 inch. Hannah Burgoon of Montauk, she won the 1600, the 3200, the 800, and was a member of the 3200 relay team. Did a lot of running.
Yep, that's what you do if you're a distance runner.
And Marianne Ackerman of Slippery Rock High School, she was the field MVP at the Pine Richland Mini Invite. And then in the meet against Lakeview, she swept the shot, discus, and javelin. I think she's done that consistently every single meet this year. She swept the field events.
Absolutely. Division I scholar. You don't see a lot of those in track and field.
And here's the track and softball combo. Bailey Blauser of AC Valley. In softball, she had 4 hits, 6 RBIs, and was the winning pitcher in a 21-3 win over Union. She followed that with another game of 3 hits. And then in track, she broke the school record in the long jump, 17 feet, 6.5 inches.
I like when coaches are able to, in small schools, to share athletes. It's sometimes the selfishness comes out. I like when you're unselfish and say, let the kid choose what he or she wants to do. I like that.
And a lot of small schools, we're finding a lot of athletes who are big gems.
Absolutely. Those small schools, they almost have to share them.
In softball, this girl, what a pitcher she is. Paige Grescott of Slippery Rock High School, 14 strikeouts and a 5-3 win over Titusville. She also had a 3-hit game. Mac Baker, Seneca Valley, 3 hits. Lindsay Edwards of Knock, 3 hits. Knock has a terrific softball team, too. Sam Meredith of Slippery Rock High School, 3 hits. Gara Malochik of Karn City, 3 hits. Izzy Relay, Seneca Valley, she pitched the Raiders to a 3-1 win over Plum on a 2-hitter. Olivia Visaria knocked 3 doubles. And pitchers Bailey Rickenbrode and Brianna Cox a knock combined on a 1-hitter and a 14-1 win over McKeesport. In baseball, Brady Gavula of Butler, 3 hits. Shane Thompson of Slippery Rock High School, 4 hits. Hunter Troutman of Karn City, 3 hits. Gavin Phillips of Knock, 3 hits, and he also pitched a 3-hitter in a 6-0 win over Burrow. In the cross, Charlotte Stamper of Mars, she had 5 goals. Morgan Wise of Freeport, 4 goals. Addie Barnes of Freeport, 3 goals and honors. Anna Kadlubik of Slippery Rock High School, she was named the District 10 Region 5 Girls Basketball Player of the Year.
Pretty impressive. Not bad at all.
And one of the best all-around athletes
absolutely.
anywhere.
No, absolutely.
With soccer.
That Slippery Rock girls team had several not only good basketball players, but very good athletes.
Yeah, she's track. I'm still thinking track's going to be her best sport in college.
Yeah.
And college news, Butler grad Bev Blockley, formerly Bev Fry. She's the women's gymnastics coach at the University of Michigan. She coached the Wolverines to their first ever NCAA crown. Blockley has been the head coach at Michigan for 32 years and has coached the Wolverines to 24 Big Ten titles. Part of that great gymnastics tree here at Butler, Paul Yorm, Dave McInnes, and Steve Heasley.
He's the best. It's that simple.
Let's go to our stories of the week. And no surprise, our stories of the week. I just conducted an interview with quarterback coach Todd Yoakum of Pine Richland. And the shock that everyone experienced when they first heard that Eric Kasparovich and his coaching staff were dismissed as coaches of Pine Richland, notified by email allegations of harassment and bullying, and yet there's never been any investigation by regional police in the past or currently. The players interviewed called the interviews a joke. Some of them said they were tended towards being bullied into saying things that didn't happen. The worst allegations seem to be locker room antics of towel snapping. There's never been any evidence of bullying other in that area. And the athletic director told the coaches that the one assistant administrator did not like Coach Kasparovich. So, guys, this has happened before. Most of it's been parent-driven. This is the first time it seems to be administrative-driven.
Yeah, you never know, because I don't know the facts. And hopefully they'll come out, and that's the bottom line. If ever they just get the facts out there and let them lay on the table.
Did we ask the administration for a word? Because we only have one sign.
The administration will not respond to anyone in terms of what the allegations are.
I didn't think so, because I had listened quite attentively all week.
I would be more than happy to have an administrator on the
absolutely.
show to
should-
give them a
They
chance
should have their side heard.
to respond, but they
Absolutely.
said that they will not respond to these things. There's been a tremendous outpouring
Oh, yeah.
of support. Don Hull, the athletic director and head coach at Gateway, has emailed 500 coaches across the state not to apply for the job. There have been demonstrations by parents and players all week long on the campus of Pine Ridge.
Let me be devil's advocate. If your child did have an issue there, would you feel comfortable coming forward with this group that is just waiting to pounce on someone that would?
I don't know. It would seem to me that if there was some substance to this in the past, that's all I'm saying. Would someone at one point have notified the police there was bullying? My son's been intimidated, scared to go to school. He's been abused at practice and so on. There's never been any evidence of that. Usually that always crops up. But they were going back 5 years ago, and the only thing I've heard is towel snapping. So I don't know where you put towel snapping in this area. Is that how subjective we've come to harassment and bullying? I'm not sure. Does that fall in that category?
As I said, you used the word heard, so that's why I can't talk about it on the show, because heard doesn't help me any. I want to get the facts, and when I get the facts, then we'll talk about it on another show. But right now, I'm not. I have no.
No.
I'm the jury, and I have heard nothing. I haven't heard no facts.
Right. And I've listened to several talk shows, KDK and The Fan, and not one person called in with a negative comment. Not one.
No, I understand
It's
that.
all been positive. So
No, absolutely.
So now he's reapplied for the job, as will all the assistants. What are the chances he gets his job back?
Want me to give them to you?
Yeah.
100.
100%. I think 100% he's getting the job back, unless, once again, I'll say it again, it's the fourth time I said it on the show.
Something comes
As
out.
the facts come out.
But how about damaging is it when someone for the board says, we can't talk about what happened? Okay, so if someone embezzles $500,000, immediately they'll talk about it, their name's out there. So
I
you
always
can't,
hide under the blanket of
Premise.
personnel decision.
privacy.
We don't talk personnel. That's always what they say.
Which is, could be damaging to the coaches too.
Absolutely. But no, this is, classic case. Like, we don't know what happened. We weren't there.
What's the old saying, George? If you go after the
If you
king,
have
you
the
miss.
king, don't miss.
Don't miss. Well, we'll see what happens here. Let's move on to National Hockey League. The Pens 28-14-3, 59 points, second place in the East, behind first place Washington, 62 points. The Islanders at second at 60. It's really tight. And in fourth place Boston at 56 points. 11 games remaining. Don't think they're easy. 3 against the Devils, 2 with Boston, 2 with Washington, 2 with Philly, and 2 with Buffalo.
Well, you play to get in the playoffs, and we've said it on this show forever. We started talking back in January, just getting the top 8, and let the dice roll, because there's no fans, so there's no home air arena. Penguins are just as dangerous as anybody else. I'd say right now, if you took the odds in Vegas, they'll be in the top 6 to win the cup. So there's no question about that.
And Sunday's lost to Buffalo 4-2. There's one nagging issue here. The Pens killing penalty play. This month they permitted 7 goals in 23 shot situations, 69.6%. Then I found out a little more research that their season rate is 76.7, is one of the National Hockey League's worst. It's something they must clear up headed into the playoffs. And right now, with injuries to Malkin, Kapanen, and Tanoff, still in injured reserve, that second line looks pretty good right now with the newcomer Jeff Carter there. I'm surprised at 36 the speed he shows on the ice, and McCann and Zucker. But everything's going to change when the playoffs come. That second line won't be there.
Yeah, and the antidote or the cure for killing the power play, stay out of the box. That's the answer.
They will in the
Don't-
playoffs,
So
huh?
don't take penalties. Yeah.
And the other thing too, getting Malkin back will almost be like a bonus because they've played so long without him.
Right.
And
And
also,
then,
he'll be healthy.
and
I
then-
mean, he'll be fresh.
Well, worn
He'll
out,
help
yeah,
fresh.
and
absolutely.
put him back on the second line, and then I
Absolutely.
like moving the Carter and that second line back to the fourth line to make that back end really strong.
Yeah, in the playoffs, when you're playing 7 and then you play 7 again, the teams that have won this cup have won 4 lines. That's a new thing. Very seldom they play 3 lines anymore. They use 4 lines.
And Albert, at that point, you make the fourth line. Now, last few years in the playoffs, that's where they've been hurt, the weakness in their fourth
Yeah,
line.
that's true.
So that's why I'd move Carter and that group back there into that fourth line.
Well, I think the coaching staff and the general manager have bought into that because they've brought in some players to have a stronger fourth line.
Hey, Major League Baseball, look who's no longer in last place. After a 1-6 start, the Pirates have won 6 of their last 9, took 2 or 3 from the Brewers, where they generally go into Milwaukee and just get slaughtered. We were talking about that, George. They're 4th place now, 1 game ahead of last place, Chicago. The Yankees are 5-10. Albert, are you feeling better about the Pirates?
No. No.
I can't get them. I can't get them to
He's
change.
he's not taking the bait.
It's a long season, and when you're bragging about somebody being 4th place, you know it's a sad commentary.
Good point. Good point.
He's like the old Italian guy who used to
Yeah.
play gym with.
Yep.
You'd be up 50 points, he'd go, don't let those early leads fool you.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Oh,
they-
that's all everyone's talking about in baseball. And the Yankees have 3 pitchers that aren't even on site.
Next 3 games against the Tigers, but here are 3 bright spots hitting for the Pirates. Colin Moran, 4 homers, 13 RBIs, 298. Brian Reynolds, I really always liked him, hitting 317. Adam Frazier, 305. The question now is, which one will be the first one to go to the Yankees or the Red Sox?
Redbeard?
Frazier, no. Frazier will be the first one.
I think Reynolds. I
Frazier.
think there'll be a big demand for Reynolds.
Oh, the demand is different, but Frazier's going to be the one
He's,
Frazier's
yeah.
gone. Frazier is the one that's going. I don't know when, but he's been on the table the whole time, and he's showing he's still a nice little player. Frazier will be the first one.
And I think why Reynolds will go after that, because I think the Pirates think his value, they can get a number of top draft choices back for him.
He looks like he did the first year, remember?
Yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah, and if he hits like that, then but last year he was so poor. But remember, when it was a COVID-driven year.
Yeah,
you're
60
you're not
games
sure
too,
what's
Al.
going on, right.
60 games.
I
is
just
a
read
lot
he
of
hit his
season.
longest home run of his career, 436
I saw
feet.
that.
And then I was reading this date, Major League Baseball, at Chicago's Griffith Stadium. Mano pounded one 555 feet.
Well, it got on a train and kept going.
Yeah. Sunday's Post-Gazette, an article by Jason Mackey, Major League Baseball concerns about the game. And this is coming from a former top-notch general manager, Theo Epstein. The pace of the game, the style of the game, the waning fan interest. The average time now is 3:12. Major League Baseball batting average this season so far, 235, the lowest since 1968, and nearly 19 strikeouts per game. So what are they trying to do? Minor league experiment, move the mound back a foot, 61 feet, 6 inches. Here's my suggestions. You guys tell me what you think. Get rid of the DH, go back to 9-inning doubleheaders, go back to stealing bunts, hit and run, move the fences back, especially in these sandbox stadiums, and teach these guys to hit to the opposite field.
Yeah, I only have one suggestion because I want baseball to stay traditional. I would take the shift and you have to have 2 on each side of the infield. And then, other than that, I'd keep baseball the same. I just think that shift has changed the swing of the approach of the players so much that the game is not close.
I think you should have a foot in the infield. I don't mind if there are 3 over there, but I don't want them in right field.
And I said it before, I'll say it again. If you can't train a distance runner by running half the distance, you can't train these pitchers in minor leagues to pitch 4 innings and expect them to go beyond that. Burt Blyleven said it years ago. He learned to pitch 9 innings because they trained him to pitch 9 innings in the minor leagues. Why can't you go back to that?
They're not. So that's not coming back because of the money they put into the pitchers. They want to protect them it's just upsetting to me, but that's the way it's going.
Well, the game has suffered. The interest is not there, and I would like less analytics and more of the human touch to the game. could Danny Murtaugh and Chuck Tanner and Walter Alston, Whitey Herzog, and Gene Mock, could they manage today?
No.
No, they would be managed. The managers aren't managed.
Because
They're not managers.
No.
It's robotics.
It's all analytics.
It put that human touch, and the fans are sensing this, and they see the waning interest there in terms of attendance and television ratings, which we're gonna have to do some research on. Hey, the NFL 1 week from April the 29th will be the NFL draft. First top 10 picks, plus the Steelers at number 24. Here's the chicken and the egg dilemma: Steelers running back, offensive lineman. Well, did anyone hear of Reggie McKenzie and Joe DeLonglear from Buffalo until OJ got there? Did anyone hear of John Kolb and Mike Webster until Franco Harris got there? So my point of view is I'm taking the running back, the best running back available, and then I'll worry about the next pick and getting a lineman.
Steelers have always been devastatingly great because they take the best talent. They don't look at position. They will never look at position. If they do, that means they're going to start playing like Washington or Detroit, like Lions took 7 wide receivers. You are going to take the best talent, and it happens to be a defensive lineman, defensive back, offensive lineman. If somebody's rated number 6, and the best running back's rated 13th, I would not.
I'll be shocked they don't take a running back or an offensive tackle first. I'll be surprised.
I hope they don't, because I want the best talent. And if Pitts is there, I'm taking Pitts. I mean, I'm taking the best talent. That's the team.
Oh, if he's there as a tight end,
But I'm
they
saying
would
the
consider
teams that
it.
win.
But
The teams that win the pros.
But
don't take position.
to me, they need a running back or an offensive tackle. And the best running backs, you could start with Najee Harris of Alabama, 6'2", 230. But to me, he's another James Conner. That's not a slam. Conner was a hard-nosed inside runner. Travis Etienne of Clemson, shifty and elusive, tends to run very high. That's not good in the NFL. Here's the guy I like is Javonte Williams of North Carolina, 5'10", 220. Why? He can run. He's hard-nosed, physical. He can catch, and he's a vicious blocker.
And I think North Carolina was 7-5. I'm saying running back ain't going to make you that much better. If I get a T.J. Watt out there, or I got a Joe Hayden, or I got somebody, I'll get my defense better. I just want the best talent.
Well, they've been last in rushing the last 3 or 4 years in the NFL, and the mindset is they're going to improve it with a running back, and they desperately need an offensive tackle. Offensive linemen available. There are 2 big tackles out there, Liam Eichenberg of Notre Dame and Alex Leatherwood of Alabama. And centers, you have Josh Myers of Ohio State. And Alabama has maybe the best center in college football, Landon Dickerson, 6'5", 325, but he's had ACL injury and a season-ending ankle injury.
That's dangerous. That moves them back. They do those physicals. They check your right toe to your right ear. They make sure that you're healthy.
I'll have your top 10 picks ready for next week. And finally, in college sports, approved by the NCAA, a 1-year transfer, one-time rule without having to sit out a year. That's now in place.
It's crazy.
That's it for us. We've run out of time. We'll see you next week.